Hello, I'm Anisa Hassan, and welcome to my podcast, Diary of a Matchmaker, where I'll be shedding light on how best to navigate the dating world, avoid pitfalls, and create a love story that really matters to you. In this episode, we're going to talk about heartbreaks, broken heart, right? And feeling of loneliness, especially at the end of the year or at the start of the year when, you want to start strong. But somehow we know that, the months of November and December are generally the high months where people start breaking up. Don't ask me why, but statistics have shown that November and December are when people start, uncoupling or getting divorced or, not being on the same page. So it's very hard when somebody is battling this loneliness or this trying to nurse a broken heart. But I've got news for you, right? I've got some tips, some advice on how best to navigate this period of your life where you just want to get on with life, but, you've been stuck. You've been stuck in a loop, listening to sad songs all the time or breakup songs. I think it's fine for you to steer away from putting so much emphasis on, your heartbreak and start looking at things and reframing things in a very positive light. So first off, I feel that it's important that you embrace your solitude. You're not lonely. You're not alone. This is a time of solitude where you can start taking stock as to what has really happened in that relationship that just didn't feel right or that just didn't work out. And the clearer you are about what didn't happen or what you wanted in that relationship that didn't pan out, the easier it is for you to know and to feel what is right for you or what is it that you want moving forward in your next relationship. It's a time so for you to get clear. When you reframe, it's all about clarity, right? It's time for you to get clear and set the right intention in terms of what you're looking for in your partner. You think that you may know what it is, but after the heartbreak, if you really look into it, it's not necessarily clear whether that person was really good for you. They are good for you on many levels, right? Because it's not just about you loving them and you liking them, but when you're with them, you feel very confused, you feel very neglected, worse if you feel betrayed in that relationship. So what is it? So when you really look at it, you didn't get what you want, or you have your needs that are not met, and therefore now you become clearer and more discerning in terms of what is it that you really want in a partner. So use this time to think about your own values, your own interests, your own goals in terms of what you want to see in your next relationship. But I know a lot of you, after a heartbreak, and this is very common, and I'm not trying to invalidate you, I feel you are doing the opposite thing, right? Instead of focusing on yourself, you're doing the opposite thing, right? Instead of focusing on yourself, you are so obsessed with what your ex-partner is currently doing, right? You're stalking their socials. You're looking whether they have moved on. You try to justify that they were a bad person. You start talking very poorly about them to your friends and family members, trying to justify why they have broken up with you. I think that's a waste of your time and your energy because at the end of the day, we must learn to allow people to be who they want to be, right? And it is not a rejection if somebody has, turned you down or has broken up with you. Rather, it's a redirection, right? It was not meant to be, and therefore you have now the clarity, the time, the space to focus your attention not on them, but on yourself to get better, to be the version 2.0. So that you have a new season of glow up and you can move on thinking that, hey, this is the new me and this is what I really want in a next relationship, and I'm not in a hurry to settle, or I'm not in a hurry to lower my standards just to be with somebody, right? So yes, it's going to be a time where you are transitioning from sadness, from grief, from betrayal, but give yourself that time, be gentle with yourself, and use this solitude to get clear about, the person that you want to become as a result of that breakup, right? And after a breakup, you also have to understand that, and I think the women do this very, very well. They tend to express themselves, and they huddle up with their good friends or their sister, and people who is their support network, right? It is okay to express your pain. It is okay to feel every emotions that the breakup bring about in you. It is not okay to linger for a long period of time or to keep talking about it, right? Because you are not trying to find a solution. You are just repeating and rehashing the unfairness of it all when somebody breaks up with you or when you break up with somebody, right? You're trying to justify that you did the right thing. So my take is, as much as it is important for you to express yourself, remember not to overdo it. Repeat it only to people who know you and who can also shake you back into reality and not just allow you to vent, to rant, just because you're using them as a platform or a listening ear. So be careful about sharing those details or intimate moments that, have broken you to pieces with somebody who really cares about you and not somebody who is going to repeat your story to somebody else and making it even more worse than it is. So express yourself, journal it if possible, because I think it's important that everything that you feel gets expressed, right? It's better out than in. So if you are not used to journaling, take a notebook, it's as simple as that, and start writing what you really feel inside. Because once you have expressed it, there's no reason for you to continue living in fear, in grief, in betrayal, in disappointment, in frustration. Everything has already been expressed onto that journal. I had this one coaching client who also went through a heartbreak recently, and she expressed to me how difficult it is for her to cope with the heartbreak, with the breakup. And I can't tell her at that point of time that you need to get to forgiveness. You need to forgive this person who has done you wrong. I don't speak like that to her, and I don't think it will help her in any way. In fact, I think she will just tune off when I tell her to do something that she doesn't want to do, because she felt the complete betrayal of this past partner or ex-partner of hers. I asked her, is there anybody that you can turn to? And she said, no, nobody can understand me, or nobody understands what I'm going through. And I said, have you ever tried journaling or writing things down? And she said, no, I've never done it. And so we went through the process of expressing how she really feels. And I said, take out, 3-4 pieces of A4 size paper like this, right? And just write down everything, the first memory of this person, what this person has done to you that you felt you were hard done, or you were betrayed. I said, write it down. I told her it's important that she allocates some time for herself and really think through why that relationship ended. And it's okay for her to to just express everything that she feels, the anger, the frustration, the disappointment, the betrayal, everything. Write it down. I said, take 3-4 pieces of paper. She ended up spending the whole entire weekend writing 21 pages of all the things that she knew was wrong in the relationship, but she stuck with it. She went through with it because she felt that if she doesn't go through with it, she was going to end up losing the person. But true enough, she still lost the person. And it was not entirely her fault. Relationship is always the responsibility of two grown individuals. And so when things don't pan out a certain way, if you take accountability, or if you take responsibility for your share of why the relationship failed, I think it feels so much better and lighter. And you can move forward with, again, clarity of mind, and you become more purposeful, you become very intentional. So if you don't want to share your heartbreak with a person, you can always express it in your writing, in your journal. And if you have the capacity, why don't you go through a therapy session with an expert so that you can process your emotions also with that expert, right? Sometimes we are stuck in our own feelings and we don't know how to overcome our emotions. It's there and we are stuck in a loop. And so when you are talking to a therapist or an expert, they help you to unpack those emotions, you process it together, and you feel so much better, right? So there are a lot of dating experts, counselors, therapists, relationship experts who can help you unpack and relook, recalibrate everything that you need to know about relationship if you were to engage them in a therapy session. I feel that the third thing that you need to do in a heartbreak situation, or if you're processing a heartbreak right now, you need to reconnect with joyful activities. I think sometimes we forget ourselves. We lose ourselves in a relationship. We forget that we also have needs, wants, desires, activities that make us smile and be happy about. We tend to lose ourselves, and then we resent our partners for losing ourselves, right? When all along, all that we are doing is just to focus our commitment or our entire time on our partner. And that's becoming very careless of who we are. So use this time as you go through this period of, oneness or wholeness or, coming back to yourself, to reconnect to joyful activity, something that you have, long forgotten. Because you have been so busy, either raising children or you have been busy working on your relationship. So you have to, go back to basics. I think it is very important. Go back to basics. And I always say, what is it that you do in your childhood that brings you a lot of joy? Some people say, I just love being in the outdoors. And I've not been able to do that because life has just taken over. And all I do is just go from point A to point B, going to work, coming back home and repeating the cycle over and over again for the last 20 years, right? It happens. And it happens to the best of us. So I said, if you could go back to a childhood memory that brings you so much joy, what would you do? I'd spend, a lot of time by the beach, or I would walk barefoot on the beach. I would, bring a mat, have a picnic, just enjoy the sea breeze and be at one with nature, right? Swim in the open sea. So I said, why don't you do that? And she said, okay. After I do this, then what's next? We are stuck again in this loop of having to do something all the time in order for us to feel better about ourselves. I said, no, that's just one of the activities that you can do. Get back to nature, a walk in nature if you can, because there's something healing about being in nature. And these days, there's also activities that involve forest bathing. I've heard so many groups coming up and they offer forest bathing where you become one with nature and you start listening to sounds and feeling the trees and the leaves that you would normally take for granted because you think that they are there, and you don't pause and wonder at the beauty that surrounds you. So sometimes what we need is a pause, right? And when we reconnect with nature, when we do grounding, when we walk barefoot, when we are at the beach, just enjoying the breeze and the lapping of the waves, those things really matter, and it brings us back to whole, right? In alignment with ourselves. So reconnect with joyful activities, especially during this time when you have all the time in the world to not focus on anybody else but yourself. Next is to learn to lean into a community. Right? You don't have to do this all by yourself. I think we have become so stuck with, wanting the best for ourselves. So we learn to become achievers and we do things by ourselves. Nobody can do it better than us. So we tend to become very solo or, individualistic in our approach. So in times like these, it's important that you lean into a community for a support network or support system. I think it's important that you spend time volunteering, and especially at the end of the year or beginning of the year, there's so many volunteer activities that you can participate in, and this create a sense of purpose and fulfillment. So it helps to take your mind off your loneliness, your sadness, the heartbreak, and you get to focus on activities that really matter, that are intentional. And it feels good when you can help other people, right? Because we love it when we receive help at the right time. So we never know what other people are going through. And if we can just take ourselves out of the equation and not make it about us for just one day, and volunteer our time, volunteer our services, bring cheer, bring a smile to somebody else who needs it, especially during the holiday seasons or during the start of the year. I think it's very fulfilling that way. And you get to, so-called drown your sorrow and, focus your time and attention on somebody else who may need the companionship, the communication in this time of the year. And a lot of women also use this time after their heartbreak, right, to have a glow up session. And what do I mean by that? A lot of times I know, women who cut their hair or they style themselves differently. They take greater care of themselves physically. They hit the gym. They eat well. They nourish themselves with good food. Things that they have been suppressing all along because, they don't want to seem like, they're selfish, right? When they are in a relationship. They go through a glow up season after a heartbreak. And I think it's important. It's not just, a matter of being extravagant with yourself. I think what is more important is the feeling that you engender within. It is not just about the physical change, having beautiful skin or lustrous hair. It's not about any of that, but it's what those activities make you feel. That's more important. So if you start feeling better about yourself by, eating better, by hitting the gym, by having a new look, new outfit for yourself, I think in the long run, it can help as well. Even though it may seem like it's a shot in the arm, what's more important is for you to continually feel that your happiness is not dependent on someone else. You are responsible for your own happiness. And that's what is really important. And the minute you know that your partner is not the source of your happiness, that you are the source of your own happiness, then it becomes very clear that it's okay to go through this period all by yourself, because you know how to engender your own happiness, your own fulfillment, and you know how to take care of yourself, right? Having a partner is a bonus. But more importantly, you get into that phase where you know that you are fully responsible for how you show up in this world and in your next relationship. And finally, as you go through this period, I know it's going to be very hard for people to hear this from me, but if you prioritize gratitude and your future, I think if you can celebrate your small wins, that you see things with kinder eyes, you are not so hard on yourself, you become more grateful in the everyday activities that you do. You put your energy on a different plane. You are raising your vibration in so many ways, and gratitude gives us more reasons to be grateful. When we are grateful for something, there's always more reason to be grateful. All right, there will just be things showing up in your life that you never expect. But when you start focusing attention, you're not so self-absorbed. You are in the moment, observing and appreciating small acts of kindness or the ability to help people when they need it. I think those aspects will make your vibration so much higher, so much more at peace, so much more joyful that you forgot that you are still single, or that you have just gone through a very difficult phase in your life, and that you have survived, whether or not it was a very painful breakup or not. The scars will show that, you have gotten out of it alive, and that you need to be very thankful for the fact that you have that courage now to start again. And this time round, you will get into a relationship with your eyes wide open and with a mind that's fully aware that, life still goes on, and that there's going to be other people that you're going to meet along the way. But this time round, when you make a decision, it's no longer based on just chemistry, or dimming the light on yourself so that another person can shine. This time round, it comes from the fact that, you know what a great love is all about. And, a great love is when, you can appreciate another person's presence in you. A great love is when you are able to communicate your needs, and that the other person or your partner will move mountains to make sure that you are always seen, heard, loved, and understood. Right? So this time around, it's going to be so much better. And I promise you that once you come with all these awareness, with all these new knowledge, you will be stronger, and you will be bolder, and you will be very discerning when it comes to choosing the next person that you want to have in your life.